I am proud that I wrote the most horrifyingly hilarious torture scene ever written. Takes place in a magical context, but believe me, I was even shocked at myself when I wrote that. I think that
Recording, we're recording, we're live on the air, recording. Cheers. Dude, you nailed it. Cheers. What a finish.
Welcome, everybody, to another fucking super fantastic episode of Horror Whiskey Company. We are sitting at number 62, you motherfuckers. Thank you so much. I mean, motherfuckers, in a term of endearment, very much. Thank you for commenting and listening. If this is your first time, you're going to really enjoy it because we're super funny. We say really smart shit. This is probably going to be the best podcast you've ever heard.
Can change your life.
If you're here again, hi, Cheyenne.
I see
My name's Jamie. That's Peter.
That's your boy. You heard it here first.
And we do all things true crime, paranormal.
I'm trying to make an H. Is it
and mostly horror. What a great episode we have for you. Spoiler alert, we have our first ever guest on the episode tonight.
Yeah, guys, they let us interview someone.
Yeah, and we weren't like, hey, please.
Either way.
We were sought after, and we were thankful, and we had a wonderful time. So please stick around. You're really going to enjoy it. His name's Eric Miller, and he's been in the horror writing game for decades, and he has some really great reasons why he's motivated, and it's not just because of money. So right there. So getting started, Pete, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking not always green. I have my good old trusty dusty. It's not dusty. It's honestly quite clean. It's just from like a week ago. Bottle of Jameson. And I'm drinking Nooners today, dude. Back on the Celtic train, dude. I'm a Celtic boy again, dude.
You getting a little dummy thick?
Yeah, dude.
Dummy thick again, so you decided to get some
I think I'm losing weight. I'm going to the gym more often.
Are you really?
So
what are you doing?
I kind of have to.
Why?
Because of my kneecap.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
It's injured, guys.
What are you doing again?
Yeah, a lot of pelvic thrusts.
You doing
pretty much
thrusts,
I'm doing about
presses?
an hour of pelvic thrusts a day. That's what I'm drinking.
And
I'm drinking Noon, not because I'm trying to lose weight, because I'm a Celtic boy. You heard it. I did it. Jamie, what are you drinking?
So in perfect time of the season, I'm drinking what's called All Hallows Eve treat, and it's an Imperial chocolate peanut butter stout. And
that is out of character for you, but it sounds so good.
Well, it's a Halloween beer.
Did you find that in the discount bin?
I sure did. But there's
a 6 for $6.
No, I just bought one of them. Oh, but it's really cool. There's some ghosts and spiders, and there's zombie hands coming out of a cemetery.
Goblins, monsters galore.
And you can't see it, but the zombie's yelling, "Grains."
That's awesome.
That's what sold me.
All right.
So yeah,
that's awesome. It's way better than my high noon seltzers. What else you got? I can see a little.
Hold on. Well, let's figure out where it's from first. Let's give it a plug. So this is from Brewery O'Megan. This thing is foaming at the mouth right now too. Oh no, capsize.
Hey, chug it down, dude.
I'm the Titanic right now. What do I do?
Did you say you are the Titanic?
I'm in the Titanic right now. I'm capsizing.
Never let me go. Oh wait, no, that's not the thing.
I'm in brewery. So it's Brewery O'Megan out of Kansas City, Missouri. Wouldn't have guessed it. and it's a dark, chocolately creamy peanut butter stout at 7.6%. So,
you're gonna get hammered, dude.
let's get this ball rolling.
Let's keep moving.
Yeah, and so I've got Tullamore Dew. We're gonna go ahead and skip that for right now.
Tullamore Dew.
When the life gets hard, you never know how far you're gonna go. Go to an Irish pub, you say. That's what I say. Tullamore Dew.
Tullamore Dew.
Are you doing the Maria-hee, Maria-ha,
Maria-ha? Yeah. I don't know that actual song. I only know the Rihanna sample of it, but
I just know the YouTube video back in the day. All right, so what do we got going on? Other than we got Eric Miller, do you have any fun things you want to talk about before we get into this interview?
I have not a lot of update. Do you have some update for us?
Nancy Guthrie is still missing.
Yeah, nothing's really. I mean, there's been some developments, but I don't think it's anything really worth talking about.
I got an update on my phone about DeForvid and the fact that murder is still, there's no suspect and they have no idea. And then other than that, there's just been a couple of weird murders. Apparently an American Idol contestant killed his wife.
Hey, don't do that.
Too far in. Yeah, don't do it. Other than
you
that,
heard it here. Don't do it.
That's all I have for Hell on Earth because it's a speedy episode. And all I really watched was movies that were featuring our new person we're listening to, Eric Miller, as I got to watch Ice Spiders, and
sick.
Is wonderful.
Dude, it's so Ice Spiders, if I haven't seen it, I know that I was watching the Sci-Fi Channel a lot around the time that this came out because this is all, let's call it within a few years of the success of Sharknado, where they just kind of started cramming things together. And they're like, hey, let's just start making all these crazy sci-fi horror movies.
There was, I remember, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good, dude.
I'm going to forget. Is there was like 3 of those like pretty similar movies about ski towns and horror like this. And there was obviously Avalanche Sharks, which was going to be Sharkalanche, but they changed the name because it was too much like Sharknado. And then there was, I'm pretty sure, Nazi, the one about like frozen Nazis.
Dead Snow.
In the ski town? Dead Snow, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Now, Dead Snow was fantastic. If you guys haven't seen Dead Snow, please check out Dead Snow. It is so good. Dead Snow 2009. It is awesome. I do remember seeing that one.
Well, Avalanche Sharks is about an Indian burial ground that curses the ski resort, and they have sharks come out and eat people. And I'm pretty sure it's sci-fi as well as Ice Spiders, but I will say that Ice Spiders was better than Avalanche Sharks, in my personal opinion.
That's awesome.
I want to know where, like, I know that it was filmed in Utah, and I forgot to ask Eric about, like, where it was at, because I assumed that he probably just wrote it and he didn't, like, go and film and stuff, so I didn't want to be like, hey, let me talk about it. Like, once he talked about how he's like, I wrote this because it gave me money. No, I was like, all right, well, you're not going to know exactly where they filmed it at, but I'm guessing they recorded this in April or May, like after a ski resort closed. And I want to say it's probably like Brighton or something like that.
Okay.
But the snow is fucking awful.
Dude, I'm just going to let you know, you are absolutely correct. The key destinations are Solitude and Brighton Resorts.
Really?
Yep.
Literally, I looked at the geography. I'm like, that's got to be Brighton or That's got to be the Little Cottonwood Canyon song.
Look at my guy. Look at him knowing things.
Yeah. But I'd say the only thing that holds this movie back is the early 2000s CGI, which is the spiders in this movie.
Yeah. Okay.
And some great quirks.
But you kind of know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
See, this was right around like the turn of Netflix, right? When Netflix becomes this big conglomerate giant thing, right? The late 2000s, Netflix goes from shipping out DVDs to hosting streaming, and they took on all of these IPs. And it's when I remember like getting into horror and watching hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of horror movies that were
I would just
like
leave the Sci-Fi Channel on.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would do. I would just put the Sci-Fi Channel on because I knew it'd be some ridiculous fucking horror movie. And
funny, fun, ridiculous, all of it.
Well, it made me think. It was like, if I go to the movie theater and watch a horror movie and it's campy and cheesy and annoying, I get really pissed off. But if I watch it on the Sci-Fi Channel or if I watch it like on like straight to DVD,
it's totally fine.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because
it's supposed to be.
Like, that's where my expectations lie. Which if it's in the movie theater, I think it's going to be like fucking something that's going to blow my mind. So
that's really funny. I'm looking at this article called "The Spookiest Scenes in Park City Film History," and it's ranking in the spookiest scenes. So good work, Eric. You got in the spookiest scenes in the Town Lift Park City website.
Well, nice. Well, so everyone knows, so Park City is roughly 45 miles from Brighton, but
yep, it'll count.
I'm stoked that I knew.
Yeah, dude, you nailed it.
I grew up in that area.
Solitude and Brighton are the primary locations.
And it was like, I kept looking around. I'm like, man, like no one would fucking ski on this. Like, especially not Olympic skiers. Because they were like Olympic skiers, like training to be.
Is that the premise of the movie? Is there's Olympians? So because this is just after the Salt Lake Olympics. I mean, we're talking 2002. This came out in 2007. So we're only 5 years removed. They're gearing up for the next Olympics.
They were high school Olympians and they were pissed off that they weren't going to Aspen because they wanted to train in Aspen. And you get there and you could definitely tell it's like the snow looks like where the ski resort has been closed for a couple weeks. While. So I assume it's like, hey, like, I know your ski resort's closed. Can we film our show on there? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And so you could just see like divot holes everywhere. And you could see like California. Like the Olympic skier is wearing like these fucking goggles and he has a fucking giant
big old Jerry gap.
And you can see where they removed the sticker on the back of the helmet that he's wearing. And you're like, yeah, this guy's definitely Olympic. But I will say that I did appreciate that they had the like opening scene where it was like a race and they like skied down to the half pipe that was like half melted because it was fucking May.
Completely fried.
And I thought it was a great watch. The leading lady was a total babe.
Sweet.
And
love that.
The main guy character definitely kind of struck me as someone that like peaked as an Olympic skier and was now teaching skiing lessons at a resort. So
that's really
please go
funny.
watch this movie. Yeah.
I'll have to go check it out.
And also, Peter, I heard that you watched some documentaries.
I did watch a documentary.
You're not a documentary guy, and like so you said, "Hey, I want to talk about a documentary tonight." So let's.
I watched Handsome Devil.
Are you kidding me?
And it's just as bad as I fucking thought it was gonna be. I hate myself for watching these. Like it literally, like South Park made fun of these documentaries for being like murder porn. It's not quite as bad as Investigation Discovery, like running like true crime like reenactments 24/7, but man, I like kind of felt gross watching this show. But anyways, for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, Handsome Devil is the story of what is it? It's a Wade Wilson
because it's the same name as like Deadpool
killer. Also known as the Deadpool killer. Anyways, he's this like kind of suave looking dude before he got his super weird tattoos, who definitely murdered 2 ladies in one night and
on drugs.
On
like
drugs.
Meth. They don't say what kind of drugs, but this is definitely meth.
The biggest thing that I took away from this documentary was actually not because you watch a lot of these and it's what you usually get is like, wow, that's such a crazy story. I didn't think that the story was the most compelling part. I thought that the fact that this psycho built pretty much himself an online cult of not just women, but let's call them I think he called them Wade's wives. This group of people that were giving him everything he wanted in jail. Money, attention, fame. He's a piece of shit, and he is getting everything that he wants. And I think that's why I was even more upset with myself for watching this, is because I'm feeding the machine that is giving this piece of shit everything that he wants in his life.
He's not getting money, but he's getting fame from it. It's crazy.
He's in jail. He's getting money from people.
Yeah. Well, I think it's crazy that I watched the same one. I assume it's because we've just been watching Scream movies on Paramount. It's on Paramount, just right. It's like right there. So you're like, wait a second. I remember this.
Why I watched it. Yep.
I'm like, I remember this asshole. So I watched it, and I had the same feeling as you. I was like, this is fucking so stupid. This person does not deserve my time or effort. And it what a complete mental breakdown this dude has, where he goes from like, oh, he's a good looking guy to he's completely tattooed a skeleton on his face, a swastika, and the Joker mouth.
Yep. Yeah. He knows he's a piece of shit. He's just digging in, dude. I can't believe, I'd be so fucking pissed if I was his lawyer. And you first meet Jewish? This guy when he goes to jail. Yeah. Also, we should also mention his lawyer is Jewish. He's got a big ass swastika tattooed on his face now. But anyways, you meet this guy when he first goes to jail, and you're like, all right, kid, you fucked up, but we'll see what we can do to get some either things reduced or get you out of this. And then you meet with him a couple months later, and you're like, hey, what'd you do to your fucking face? What'd you do with all those? Why are those tattoos on your face? Particularly the swastika one. You also have the Joker smile, and there's the ha 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 around his eye. Hey man, we had a chance, and you kind of just threw that shit down the drain.
My favorite part of this was that he got fat and everyone stopped sending him money.
Oh, it's so funny. It's huge, dude.
Just sitting there eating cinnamon buns.
Oh my God.
Living the life of luxury.
Because this online cult following was literally giving him everything that they had.
Whatever he wanted. He was just calling these different girls and being like, I need $12. And he would just talk to 30 different girls, and they would all send him $12, and he would have $300 to spend on bonbons or fucking honey buns.
We're talking hundreds of women are obsessed, infatuated, and swayed by this guy. There's this lady specifically who did they get married or were they dating? I don't quite remember.
I don't think so.
What
about the lady that got fucking sent to jail for smuggling drugs in for him?
Yeah, I just want to I don't mean to be mean, but what an idiot.
Yeah.
This dude's guilty as shit. Look at his face. I don't mean to profile like that, but he did it.
Yeah, he literally drove away from cops like a fucking moron.
So anyways, that's the documentary I watched, and I'm not proud of it.
Yeah,
but
we have all been there.
It's also, if you want to feed the beast, it's not an awful documentary.
Well, that saves me some time because that's the thing I watch too.
Yep.
So I feel let's just get into this. Let's get into this interview. I feel like everyone's been gnawing at the bit to hear everything.
Yeah, guys, it's a big deal for us. This first guest we've ever had on the show. No, I think he was awesome. Super cool to talk to. I think, I was just really excited. I got his book. Yeah, I think we can just kick it to our interview with Eric Miller, the author of Whatever Happened to Uncle Ed. Yeah.
You want to do the
Scooby-Doo? And a 2-liter of tonic water. And they're like, here, we brought the drinks. I was like, I guess this is what I drink for the Super Bowl now.
Just a gin drinking Pete. Well, cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Hit them high. Oh, that was big. All right, there we go. There we go.
And you guys have a head start?
Yeah, I just kind of started recording. Oh, no, I had a beer.
Oh, okay. So not too much of a head start.
No, not really.
I'll try to keep up.
No,
Yeah.
not trying to get too hammered and make asses of ourselves is more than we already do on the internet. But
yeah, the internet has the longest memory I've seen, so
yeah,
try to limit the mistakes.
Well, welcome back to Horror Whiskey. We are sitting here with Eric Miller, which Peter's got a nice little blurb to kind of explain who we are, and we'll get started from there.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to welcome our guest, Eric Miller, tonight. Eric has spent more than 3 decades in Hollywood as not only a screenwriter, but also a horror fiction writer, contributing to sci-fi favorites such as Ice Spiders and horror films like Night Skies and Swamp Shark. Recently, his horror anthology, Hell Comes to Hollywood, was nominated for a Bram Stoker Horror Award, and his debut novel, Whatever Happened to Uncle Ed, hit shelves in January 2025. Eric, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me and for having a drink with me, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and for the great intro too. It helps me. These days, I forget what I've done, so it actually kind of helps me to go, oh yeah, that's actually what I did. That's who I am. Thanks.
Well, can I start out with saying that I watched Ice Spiders today, and I remember watching this years ago. And a little bit about us is we live in ski towns, or we did. Peter still lives in a ski town, so these hit really close to home with us. So I just wanted to say I really enjoyed my time today with it.
Oh, that's good. And are there, by any chance, any weird government labs next to the ski resorts? So you might want to be careful, just in case. That's all I'm saying.
They're not that they tell us about, but the place that we live, I live at, and Jamie used to live at, does have all these uranium mines that are all around the ski area, which are fun because there's like these weird pockets where like these caves will just appear out of nowhere. So yeah, that's like, we don't have. I mean, they call them uranium mines. They could be vents for the government facilities for sure.
Yeah, for the whatever. So instead of the K2, you've got the K238 or whatever. Yeah. You've got to ski around the glowing trees and vents. And
exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Come back with a lump on your neck. What happened?
Oh, great ski day. Great powder day.
Don't eat the glowing golden snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
a good rule.
My dog totally ate glowing or pissed snow today, but that's beside the point. So I guess my first question to you is, what was the motivation behind Ice Spiders? Because I remember there being like a handful of these like kind of sci-fi ski horror movies at the time that I fucking loved. And I think this one actually was probably my favorite. I thought this was better than Avalanche Sharks, in my opinion. And
yes, in your face,
Sharkalanche.
Yeah.
Sharkalanche. Yeah. The name was great, but Ice Spiders,
Shark Ball,
yeah,
whatever they were.
So, where was the motivation behind this movie for you?
It was purely money. I mean, I'd always grown up dreaming of writing giant. Truthfully, actually, I always grew up watching giant monster movies. Love them to death. Them is still, with the giant ants, is still probably right up there in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and have dreams of a remake of that. But a producer friend of mine that I was working with a lot and who helped me out a lot with some scripts and actually helped me get an option and get a writing gig for what turned out to be Dog Soldiers 2, which still hasn't happened for various reasons. But he had an edict from the channel. He was one of the approved producers, and the channel wanted this movie. They already had the title. Usually, and to my knowledge, they would take you would send in ideas and pitches and all the crazy thing. And if they liked the title, they would go to logline and then go to a story and, a bunch of steps that finally turn into all those wonderfully insane movies that we all know and love. In this case, they already had the title. They had the opening scene that they kind of wanted, and an image. They wanted an image of a spider going down the ski line, like it was a giant web. So again, my friend Jeff, worked with him a lot, great guy. And he said, hey, come write this. So that was it. And it was fun. Initially I said no for some crazy reason. Probably, I think I was working on My Dinner with Andre 2, trying to win an Academy Award or something in my head. Kidding, of course, but I'm like, Ice Spiders, why would I do that? But it really was right up my alley. It's fun, as you've seen. It's fun, it's goofy, it's crazy, and I don't know if there's any big social statements or character statements or it's going to change anyone's DNA or anything, but it's a fun ride. It's a hoot, and it ended up, as I've said, if you would have told me, I think we're on the 20th anniversary somewhere, coming close. close. That'll be the high point of your career. I'd be like, oh, great. But in a weird way, it's like, yeah, that's great. It actually is cool as hell because so many people remember it fondly and had fun with it, which is that's the whole point of all those movies.
Well, that's interesting. You say that a lot of these sci-fi pitches were happening almost strictly based from titles and maybe opening scenes. Is that true? I mean, I'm assuming that it's not normally the case, but was this a specific like sci-fi program that they were just saying, hey?
Yeah, that's how. I could be wrong completely. I'm excuse me. I could be incorrect. I'm never wrong. Never
clarification.
Wrong. Yeah. Just like Fonzie. Ooh, I can't say the word. To my knowledge, that's how the Sci-Fi Channel itself would take pitches. And either from producers or writers or directors or whoever would come in with something, and obviously they probably generated stuff internally, which I honestly don't know where this one came from. If maybe some executive was skiing at Sundance one year and went, spiders. I have no idea. But that's how the channel did it, to my knowledge. And then you go step by step by step and, see how it worked. In general, though, Hollywood there's a number of different ways to get a script made. The best way is to have your best friend be a $20 million movie actor, or your uncle run a studio. Those are usually the surefire ways to get a project made. But in general, apparently I missed out on that.
Are you flooded? I was going to say, are you flooded with that? You're having to beat away the uncles that have millions of dollars?
I'm loaded, with all actually I'm just loaded, but unfortunately not with uncles running studios or anyone. But no, the traditional path, it gets a little weird now with streaming, and as we've gone into TV world and all this kind of thing, there's 100 different ways of doing it. But generally you write what we call a spec script, which is you just write it, you have an idea, and then you hopefully send it out, get an agent, have an agent, whatever, they send it out through whatever means, the internet, or actually sending it out to people, or winning a contest, whatever. Somebody somewhere sees it, likes the idea, and then they bring you in, even if they love the script and it's exactly what they're looking for, and you've got all your best friend, all the big name actors attached. Then you have to pitch it. So you have to take off your writer hat and put on your trained monkey jump up and down hat, and then pitch it. And then eventually it turns into a $1 billion franchise, wins awards for everybody, and you retire to the hills in Malibu.
Congratulations.
I'm
sounds
still
like you're in the early steps of that.
Yeah. I'm still, early stages.
We're manifesting.
Like you said, you've still got the one work that's in progress, and maybe that's the one.
Exactly. Kind of like my entire life is in progress. So yeah,
dude,
like all of us.
We're all.
In the modern era, there's the Blacklist, and there's screenplay contests, and there's pitch festivals, and going to the right film school and having your best friend be the son of that studio head or something, or great director.
Doesn't hurt.
It never hurts. Or you know what? Honestly, most of my favorite movies, most of my favorite filmmakers are the old-fashioned way. They just get their asses out there and make a great movie. And everything from, I always give a shout out to Don Coscarelli, who warped my young mind with Phantasm when that first came out. Thanks for screwing me up forever. And to so many others. Peter Jackson, working at the post office in New Zealand and making his movies on weekends as he started, and up through the Sam Raimi and all that gang, and just so many people like that. Those are still to the modern era. One Cut of the Dead. Yeah, Shinichiro Ueda. I think he got, if I know the story right, he got out of film school and he made his first movie. If I'm right about that, and made this absolutely stunningly amazing, fun, crazy, life affirming. Zombie, what the hell did I just watch? But it's awesome kind of movie for no money. So that's where my heart is, and that's the old traditional way to make things.
So I guess my question to you is then, was there a point in your life when you knew that you're like, I'm going to write horror, or this is what I want to do? Was there a movie you saw or something that happened?
I think I heard the story about Stephen King, that when they backed up the first truckload of gold bars, cash, and diamonds to his bank and tilted it up and dumped it in. I think that was the moment when I said, hey, that sounds like a great gig.
That's fun. Some money. Some money was your childhood dream.
Yeah, money was isn't it everyone's? No,
sure. It all comes in full circle at some point. We need it to do anything.
Who's that asshole that said money can't buy happiness? Well, you were just lying. So sorry. Actually, I wouldn't know. I don't have any. So still waiting to find out, but I have a good idea that it probably makes things a lot easier. But no, I think early on, I just gravitated towards it. I was watching movies, late night TV, growing up in Indiana, watching the Channel 4 and Sammy Terry on the horror host at night, and just watching those and seeing Pit and the Pendulum, Vincent Price, and all those movies, and then just
Awesome.
sneaking out the drive-ins and seeing things. It just early on, I don't know why. I honestly don't know why I gravitated to it. I just always liked the different and the weird and the strange, and hand in hand, I like science fiction almost pretty much as much. I can't really separate the two. And when you get a great horror science fiction like Alien, we pull that up. That's just like, oh wow, you just hit, you knocked both of the gongs on the head right there for me. So,
yep.
Did that answer the question even remotely?
It did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
All jokes aside, it makes sense. Like I think about the first time, or when my babysitter used to be the television, and we would when my mom left and we saw it for the first time, and I was
that's a weird image in my head. My babysitter was the television.
I grew up in Wyoming, where
that's a really good cartoon though.
People just went to work. Your parents just went to work, and they're just like, don't do anything fucking stupid. And you're like, okay. And so, of course, we try to find something, whatever.
Did you want me to do something stupid?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you say that?
Well, so we ended up, my sister and I put on it on TV when I was 6 or 7. And I remember being terrified for a week. And still kind of don't fucking like clowns, but it definitely know for a fact that's where it started, where I was like, wait a second, I got a feeling that I've never felt before, and I haven't looked back. So that's what I wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah. No, and that's a really formative novel for me. All the Stephen King stuff, just kind of, he's obviously a little bit older than me, even though I'm ancient. He's a little bit older, a couple of years older than me. But reading him growing up was a huge influence, both on the writing and the imagination and the great movies. But I do remember going to college, and back when I weighed a lot less, I used to jog. And about the time I was reading the book It and the sewer pipes and all that, one of the paths I did along the White River in Muncie, Indiana, kind of family hometown. I went to college there at Ball State. And I'm jogging along there, and there's a big giant sewer pipe comes out from underneath the oldest cemetery in town and dumps into the river. And I kind of just had to stop, and I couldn't jog on that path anymore. I was just waiting for the balloon to come out and going against the wrong way. And still to this day, when I go back home every now and then, I'll drive by there and I'll just look over at that and go, oh, wow, that's just too freaking creepy. So.
Was there ever a point, just because it's clicking in my head that this is happening, because I remember being a young kid and being absolutely terrified of things. And now I think as an adult, you're saying when you go back home and you find that drain pipe coming out, you're like, all right, I'm going to go check it out now. And now it's one of your places that's formative. Was there a time that it clicked from horror being a thing that we are, afraid of, to something that absolutely fascinates and draws us in instead of repulses us and pushes us away?
Oh, no, it's all still real. There's no way in hell I would go up that drain pipe. But no, I know what you mean. No, there actually is. And then, of course, I became kind of I don't know if a daredevil's the right word, or there's in some things, I'm afraid anybody else, and I want to pull the blanket over my head. It's usually when I read the news or realize I have to go to work tomorrow.
When you look at real life?
Yeah, real life. But there is the point where you end up running towards the things instead of running away from them. And I was always fascinated, in my head, especially in movies and TV and some of my own writings and stuff. It's why did the monster do that? What made him click? Why? I guess it's that human curiosity. Some people huddle by the fire and don't want to get outside the firelight. And as I was saying to somebody the other day, the technological firelight, even though we have all this access to information and media, we're still in a weird bubble. And there's something outside our realm of knowing. And most people just want to stay there in the firelight and stay safe and huddle together in towns and villages. And some of us just take the step out and say, what's out there? So I do that when I'm hiking in the mountains or driving. I just want to know what's the next town over. When I jumped in my car years ago, instead of staying in Indiana, I went to Hollywood to make movies or try to make movies or whatever. It's I want to know what's out there. I just want to know. So, but as far as actual drain pipes, yeah, I do go into some crazy weird places. I love to, I think the term used to be urban spelunking. I don't know if they still use that term, but going into abandoned buildings. And then years later, I found out that printed up cards when I actually did locations in Hollywood. And you have I'm a location manager looking for a location to shoot at. You no longer have to break in and risk trespassing. You just hand the card to the owner and you come in with a camera and you get to walk.
Man, we need one of those.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't pretend to be a location manager. That would be completely wrong. But also through working,
you definitely shouldn't ever do that.
Dude, never do that. I'm telling you not to. And I never officially did that even once. Never happened. But also through working in film and TV. I mean, especially in Los Angeles, through decades of working here, at a certain point, you've been in almost every single location, and some of which have been on like the ghost shows. It's now a retirement home, old folks home, but Linda Vista Hospital. We would go in there, and I think the early '90s when it first shut down as a hospital, and we started making low budget movies there. And for a number of years, you'd be there almost every turn. I think all of the ghost shows have been there, and that everybody thinks the morgue. Everybody gets freaked out going into the morgue in the basement, and it's actually, I hate to break it to you, that's the movie morgue. That's not the real one. But I did one night. I'm down there by myself prepping a location for the shoot that's coming. I forget the circumstances, but I know where the real morgue is, the real room, and there's a weird kind of pressure, if you want to call it, like not really a wind blowing my hair, but it just felt like a resistance to walking in the room, and that could have been. It feels like
a deadened sound. That's why I think like it feels like there's like nothing echoes off the walls, nothing. You just know that it's just like you're there and nothing moves. Is how I would explain. That's
actually the best way to encapsulate it. It's the physical embodiment of a deadened sound, and it was kind of like warping. But again, my imagination. I knew it was the morgue. I knew I was alone, and I know it's 2 a.m. Yeah, it's probably my imagination. But at the same time, I think the rumors were of that same place. It was either, I think it's the 5th floor, which is the roof, the engineering space, up above where all the furnaces and elevator cables and everything go. And that's the one they don't let you into. That's where all the hauntings happen. For whatever reason, who died up there? What the heck? But I remember one time I knew the location rep really well. I'm like, can I just go up there some night? I'm not going to break anything. I want to look around. So I just let me have the key. I went up there, sat in a chair for a couple hours and come, hello, anybody here? And pretty much I was the scariest thing up there. So I think I scared the bats and the rats away. So
yeah, we've done a couple of these journeys where they're near us. There's this really, really well-known cemetery in Central City, which is one of the earlier mining villages that is now the only like really legal gambling in Colorado. But these old cemeteries, and we went on the anniversary of this ghost that's supposed to be walking the graveyards of it was last year, and it was one of those cool things where you can feel that there's some energy, but you're not sure if it's yourself that's creating it. These things feed off of us just as much as we feed into what's around us. But we didn't see anything.
You bring an EMF detector and it goes off. You're like, holy shit, ghosts. And you're like, looking, you're pointing at an electrical line. You're like, oh, okay.
So with complete respect, I have a problem with a lot of that. Some of the ghost shows, I don't watch all of them. Some of them are really well done. Some of them are great. Others are like, you're in the abandoned building or the cemetery at 3 a.m. and you hear water dripping. What was that? It was water dripping. It's an old building. Come on, guys. And the EMF meter cracks me up. Now I could be wrong. I could be incorrect. Maybe ghosts are electrical and magnetic if they exist, but who was the first person that pointed that at it? And again, I'm saying that with respect and fun because I love the people that go out there and film themselves and go to scary places and do that. But like, I can pull up the dwell meter from my car from timing my old 65 Chevy and go, my tachometer is fine. Like what the ghost is like at 8,000 RPM. What the heck's going on?
Was exactly what I was getting at with. I was like pointing that thing and then realize it's just an electrical line that's right behind us. It's like exactly like I agree with you with how these ghost shows, I love to hate them. It's kind of like my version of reality TV. Like my girlfriend will just watch every single housewife get mad at each other, and I feel like my guilty pleasure is watching these ghost stories.
Ghost adventures, like dramatic ghosts.
There's a demon. There's a demon. And everyone's like, oh, you're like, okay.
Come
out, so you far-fetched.
That's actually that's the subject of my second novel that I'm feverishly working on. That's way overdue.
Really?
So and it's basically a ghost hunter, one of the honest ones that, as X amount of years into the show, they've never found a ghost. There's a whole family backstory of it, and as they're about to get canceled from either YouTube or whatever network they happen to fictionally be on, is the producer says, just say, hey, why don't you? We gotta deliver a ghost, and the host is completely adamant about not faking, not cheating, not amping things up. And the answer is, why don't you go back to the house you grew up in that your dad disappeared in? So he has to go face his, as he says, basically 30 years of therapy. I have to go back to the place as an adult that I ran from when I was a 6-year-old kid, and what really happened there. So there's a lot of flashing back and forth in it, but also with his ghost hunting team and a lot of the things that the producer forces them to have. Like, here's the person with, 1 million Twitter followers and the EMF meter. And like, what the fuck is this? This is, but ends up being what they discover. A lot of that stuff actually pays off. I don't want to spoil anything.
That's great.
But it's the big question, which, goes back to two of my absolute favorite books. I can't always bring them up, but Shirley Jackson's The Haunting at Hill House, the Robert Wise movie, The Haunting, and obviously Mike Flanagan has taken that even further. But the Hell House, and which is all basically, it's a haunted house, and a scientist, a ghost hunter, whatever, takes people there for whatever reason to find out what's really going on. And if you've read Hell House at all, I've seen it's actually, they take a machine there that they're supposed to, the machine actually runs and will wipe out all of the supernatural evil. Spoiler alert. Sorry, backwards spoiler alert if you haven't read the book.
It's okay.
But the real spoiler is, did the machine work or didn't it? On top of, is the house really haunted or not, or what's going on here? So anyway, that whole thing ties into some of my favorite fiction. And
that's great.
Yeah, I'm doing an homage to that, but also I still love that. The shows are fun. I get it. It's crazy. And again, having been in some of the places, I remember at one point, went and stayed in, I believe it's Fillmore, California. There's supposedly a very haunted hotel and a very haunted room. And we're up there staying in the room and went out for dinner and come back trying to find dinner in Fillmore after the sun goes down is a whole horror story in and of itself.
That's the scariest part.
Yeah, they roll up the sidewalks, but we come back and there's a bunch of, the kids are hanging around the stairway and whispering and talking and looking down the hallway. And we're like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, that's the haunted room is down there. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm staying in it, and hold up the key. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
I will say I didn't see anything in the room, but there's a point, kind of get the geography, but where you're laying in the bed and there's kind of a mirror towards the end of the bed, and it reflects the closet door, which is right next to you, which was open a crack. So I'm waiting, looking at the crack reflected backwards, and I'm just waiting for the red eyes to come on. And at a certain point, I'm like, nope, shutting the door.
Exactly.
All right, you got 5 minutes, and then I'm out.
Yeah, that's it.
Because if I start getting sleepy, I want to be witnessing this. I don't want it to creep up on you.
Exactly. I guess I should have left the door open, but no thanks. But yeah, I've been to a lot of places like that on purpose, but also for work and everything. And hey, sure. I get creepy feelings in some of them, and that's kind of interesting. We work on the Queen Mary a lot, and famously had the StokerCon Horror Writers Association convention years ago on the Queen Mary, and you get a bunch of horror writers together. Believe me, it's like, where's the haunted spot? Where's this? Let's do the ritual, and what the heck happened? But again, things I've seen and witnessed, not necessarily where they're supposed to be, but like I'll get like, ooh, that was kind of weird over there. What was that? So who knows? Is it a draft?
Super interesting. I can imagine that being like a wild time of like, because everyone's, for the most part, I'm not Jamie's our paranormal guy. I'm the alien guy, but I haven't ever had a paranormal experience, but I can imagine I want one so bad. Maybe I want it too much, and that's why it doesn't happen to me. But, having all these horror writers that are just, not that you're desperate, but what an awesome thing that could happen if you were, all these different writers that are all looking for this experience to happen. The energy alone should be able to create something.
That's like
it's a movie right there.
It's a setup for a movie. Yeah, exactly.
So all these horror writers on the ghost boat, on the Queen Mary.
Well,
who survives? Who's your final girl?
Yeah. What was that show we were watching this spring, Jamie? Or I guess it was in the fall. Hell
Hell
Motel.
Motel on Shudder. Yeah, it was the
I
same
don't know
thing.
Writing that one down.
I'm not
It's
gonna
kinda
lie,
like-
I didn't finish it. Did you?
Yeah, no, I think I got like 5 episodes in, and I just like found something shiny to look at and never went back to it. But it's the same thing. It's that they take a past murders like hotel, and someone buys it and turns it, and they're going to turn it into like a haunted Airbnb. But first,
I've always dreamed of doing that, or purpose building one that looks old, but then leave the gaps in the walls so that you can sneak down behind and look out through the paintings and just rig it and make it fun.
Yeah,
exactly. But the concept is they take a bunch of like paranormal
all these media
investigators,
types,
podcasters, and they put them all together, and then like something crazy happens and they all end up dying. So it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
What a tragedy.
Worst case scenario.
I don't think they died in real life, so I think it was
hopefully they die in absolutely spectacular fashion. You just reminded me, I don't know if you call it horror or not, but one of my favorite movies is again, spoiler alert, is it a mockumentary? Werner Herzog's Loch Ness movie, if you've ever seen that.
No.
I don't know if I have seen
it. It is amazing. And he spent months before the movie building it up that he was going to go make a serious documentary on the Loch Ness Monster and all the trades. They were following him. He's over there. I believe it was Zach Penn was the producer with him and is in the movie. And so it is, again, you hate to spoil it, but it's been out for so long, you kind of have to give it away that the whole thing was a mockumentary. And even to the level of, they're arguing and, there's nothing here. This is just a stupid lake. And Herzog is himself wanting to really find the truth behind this. And somebody's suggesting, well, we know some special effects people, we can do something. And like, no, I want the truth. And as they're arguing, something eats one of the cameramen.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So, and it even goes into once the movie was out, allegedly Herzog and Zach Penn get into a big fight, and he fires Zach Penn from the movie, or vice versa. And even in the director's commentary, they're fighting over the thing. So it's just this wonderful piece of meta filmmaking that by itself is just a great film because it's Werner Herzog, for crying out loud.
Yep,
the guy's a master and one of my favorites. But I don't know if you call that horror or not, but it's in that same realm of.
Well, the way that
stuff.
we describe horror on this show is it's if it gives you that feeling, then it's horror to us. Because there's so many things that aren't described as horror, but we describe it as horror. So
yeah, that is because horror is, I've talked about this a lot, that, what is the genre? Forever Hollywood called Silence of the Lambs a thriller. No, that's a horror movie. I mean, yes, it is a thriller, but it's also one of the most effective horror movies ever. Alien's a science fiction movie, but it's a haunted house movie in space. Those aren't, new ideas, but the same thing that no matter what it is, it doesn't have to be prototypically a horror movie. Did your house burn down? Did you lose your kids in a divorce? Whatever happened, because reality is much scarier than that. So there's so many things that are, seemingly mundane or real world that aren't supernatural based necessarily. And yes, those things are horrifying. Losing your job, losing your parents, losing your cat, all of those things can be terrifying and horrible.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
I did want to say too, I want to mention something before I forget about it. Pete said that about never had a paranormal experience. And I always just wonder this. I don't know the answer to it, but if some people are more attuned to, I'm a skeptic. I want to believe. I'm older. I want to believe. I've seen weird things and had weird things happen. I don't know if it was aliens or ghosts or whatever. I don't claim that it was. I don't claim to know. I just know that something weird has happened. I don't care if somebody believes me or not. I'm not coming from there, but assuming that there might be something, I always like to bring up this weird subject that there's radio waves and TV waves and cell phone waves and everything going through us. And unless you have the phone, unless you have the detector, the TV, the radio, whatever, you can't pick it up. So what other kind of waves? It could be telekinesis. It could be alien probing waves. I don't know what they are, but unless you have the detector, but you can't necessarily pick it up. But I do know, and I think a lot of people echo this, that we have very highly developed senses, and we get dulled by modern society. And interactions, and we hardly ever see human beings anymore because we're through a screen. Oh. But we've all had a feeling when you meet somebody, you just don't get a good feeling from that person. Now,
Sure.
For sure.
are they a serial killer? Are they just a jerk? Are they just somebody that's not your type of person? Whatever the reason is, but you're picking up on something, and that's just a combination. Again, theoretically, it's a combination, and probably of you're just seeing the way that they move, the way that they think, the way that they dress. Maybe you don't like the T-shirt they're wearing, so that speaks to something you may or may not like. There's who knows what it is, but it could also be, are we just kind of picking something up? And I think we're so drowned out with media and all of those waves that we really do pick up and watch, and the lack of interaction in modern society is that are we really able to just calm down, take a breath, meditate, and open yourself up to whatever energies might be out there? And that sounds like hooey, and I'm not a hooey person. I kind of hate hooey, but I think there's something to it.
Well, like, have you ever been to Casadega in Florida?
I have not. No.
So Casadega
I've been to Casa Vega, the restaurant on Ventura, which is the
oh nice,
which is the it's the darkest restaurant ever. The entire place is lit by the little lights on the pictures and maybe a candle. So when you come in out of the sunshine, you're stumbling around, but there's nothing supernatural there that I know of.
Oh, it might be oddly. So Casadega is a community in Florida that is the second biggest medium or spiritual camp in the United States, only less than the one in Salem. And that's where all psychics and mediums go to, like, learn their craft. And that's kind of what when I went and visited there, that kind of explained to us that a lot of those things, like you get that sense, like you were talking about, is like some people have it. And also, a lot of us have it when we're younger, and we actually are kind of like forced to lose it. So say a lot of kids say that they have an imaginary friend, which could actually be their grandpa or their grandma, but their parents just kind of like tell them, they're like, hey, like, no, you're seeing things. So eventually you start to believe it, and then it goes away.
Yeah, or that sometimes they don't go away, and I always have that. It's probably been done a million times in movies and stories, but the friend or the girlfriend or whatever you have that you just go along, that they're there, and then suddenly, years later, like, who are you talking about? Well, Cheryl from next door. Like, there's no Cheryl. Again, that's a movie trope.
She was never there.
She was never there. And
you're talking about the psychological paranormal rom-com by Eric Miro. Talk about My Dead Ex-Girlfriend, where she just dies and follows you and makes sure that you don't have anyone else.
Wow. That's literally ghosting. Like,
yeah, exactly. There's a title right there.
Sadly, I wish that was a supernatural fiction instead of reality, but here we are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
but no, that's cool. I didn't actually know about that, and actually, I'm going to look it up now, and maybe I'll go down and do some training or something. Who knows?
It's kind of fun.
It is.
At least getting into the mind of those mediums and stuff like that. With the book that you've got going on, could be. I mean, I'm sure you've talked to plenty of people, but I always find, as a skeptic, so fascinating to hear someone that is, able to channel those energies like we talk about. It's definitely something where there's a receiver, and you have to, have your lines open to be able to receive those kinds of energies. And I think that, Jamie, like you said as well, from a young age, we're really open, and our receiver gets tampered and brought down more and more as we have to, narrow our focus, I guess, on the reality that surrounds us. And I think that's interesting to think about.
Yeah, life just gets in the way. And the brain is just learning at such a volumetric, insane rate. Just the progression of that, and like you said, the imagination and everything. And it is sort of a fascinating. And it gets into too also hallucinogens and all that. I know at an early age, reading The Doors of Perception, Aldous Huxley, and obviously Timothy Leary, and there's a whole obvious subculture of that, or becoming mainstream culture of that. Those questions of, are we opening doors? Are we actually seeing what's there? Is it another dimension? Is it literally just our brain opening up? And that comes full circle to the after death experiences. I mean, yes, they can pinpoint why you see a tunnel of light, because it's the way the body tries to keep going, and it pools the blood and it drains it in certain ways. And yes, there's a physiological explanation for a lot of things, but maybe there is something else. Yeah, I don't know. Never been to the other side. I am skeptical of people that claim that they know what's going on. I'm more into people like myself and probably you that like something happened, don't know what it is, don't know what it could be, but let's try to, like science, let's try to figure out what it was.
Yeah, let's not move past it.
Yeah. Well, like the there's explanations for a lot of things, but I believe this is one of my favorite things. There's two to really diverge here. Archaeologically, I grew up in reading Eric von Donigen's Chariots of the Gods and things like that. And there's a whole lot of bullshit and a lot of those and people selling books. But some of it is like, these are good questions to ask. And look, and the two things that I always come down to is I believe it's a Incan or Mayan carving of basically a guy in a chair wearing a spaceship helmet with rockets behind him, steering a rocket sled. I'm sorry. That's
how do you come up with that?
That's a guy flying a rocket. Okay. And whether whoever did it thousands of years ago.
That's not a horse.
Yeah. Whether he imagined it, I'm not saying that he's drawing what he saw, that he met an alien, but that's that. And the other one is, my favorite is, at Angkor Wat, I believe it is, or one of the temples near there. There's various carvings and things. And yes, there's explanations. They're flowers, they're this, they're everything, religious significance and all this. But one of them that they've shown, it's a stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not saying that whoever built Angkor Wat saw a stegosaurus, but when people say that's not a stegosaurus, well, no, it actually is. It looks exactly like it. It might be, again, purely from an artistic imagination. I think of things. We all make weird drawings when we're kids or adults.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it is a stegosaurus, but to say that that's not a stegosaurus, that's not good science. That's not good skepticism. The right thing is to say, what is that and where did it come from?
Yeah.
I think it's a stegosaurus. It's totally a stegosaurus.
I'm interested. You brought up a couple different authors, Danigan, as well as Leary and Huxley. Do you have, getting back to specifically, so I just literally got your book in the mail today. This is kind of something was thrown together pretty quick, but I have listened to a couple different interviews that you've done and was super enthused. Like, I'm excited. I'm a horror reader. I'm excited to dig into this, but as far as your influences in whether it's screenwriting or your novels or any, even your anthologies that you're pulling together, is there any authors specifically that are, let's call them your greatest influences?
Yeah, my greatest, and
or that you try to emulate.
That I try, that I do. But first, before I reveal all my deepest secrets, make sure that you probably wear really dark sunglasses and sit in a chair before you read the book, because it will rewire your DNA and turn you into a more advanced form of life. So just
dude.
Just be ready.
Damn.
Man, you heard it here, folks. Dude. You want to level up. We've talked about, advancing the human body, who we are as a species.
Just read my novel, and it will.
It's right here.
And honestly,
I got it for like $15 on Amazon. It got here in 3 days.
And I'm not saying that you
for years too.
Well, I'm not saying that you will lose 15 pounds and become more attractive to the opposite sex, but it's been said if you read the book. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying so.
I saw that in the reviews.
So yes, exactly. So, but no, seriously, I think like all writers, we all have our influences and people that we, when you're young, you read them and they either appeal to you directly. And then when you start writing or being an artist, like I wanted to be a comic book artist when I was young, and I, dreamed of being Jack King Kirby, and obviously I have zero talent in that respect. But you kind of start drawing like the person that you like the most, and you start writing like the person that you like the most. And I think you actors probably do that too. Like, I want to be James Dean. I want to be this, whatever. And so you follow them. So like Stephen King, obviously is there right up on my pantheon of, and still just amazed at not only the insane work ethic and the output, but the sheer imagination and the different worlds. And it's not just horror. It verges into fantasy. And some of them are just absolutely just beautiful stories about people.
Yeah.
And as I and many others have said, that he creates these amazing worlds and some just absolutely fantastic, like in the Dark Tower series and the Gunslinger and all that. But others, most of them are just small towns and people that and like we all do, little bits and pieces of people. So in a very simple, clean writing style, nothing super fancy, but it still gets the point across in visual and imagery and stories. So got to put him up there. Robert E. Howard, another gigantic influence of mine, not just the Conan stories as much as I love them, but discovered him at an early age. And read voraciously in a lot of his different characters. And some of my favorite short stories are actually one of my favorite horror short stories. A lot of people don't realize that he was pen pals with H.P. Lovecraft. And I just recently found out that he was pen pals with Clark Ashton Smith. He didn't meet a lot of writers. He lived in the small town in Texas, and there was hardly, any books around. There wasn't like he was hanging out in a library and reading the pulps, but he was at least getting advice and getting some things. And most of this just came purely out of a guy's imagination in West Texas. So, but very simple, very clean style. But he also, he did write horror, and Pigeons from Hell, one of my favorite short stories. And it's a horror story in a haunted house written by Robert E. Howard. So, Poe, big influence. I first stumbled into Poe because of the Pit and the Pendulum and the Black Cat and all the movies, things on it. But then eventually started reading it, so I'm a big Poe fan going back.
This
Shirley
is like
Jackson.
late night TV type stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And Pit and the Pendulum. Yeah,
which led to Vincent Price too, which is just an amazing, iconic person and actor. You just say the name and he is horror. It's like there's hardly
pretty much.
Yeah, there's very few contemporary actors, and it's not necessarily typecasting at all. But he just occupies that space so massively. I think maybe Robert Englund these days, or something. I don't know who else would be to just, when you say the name, you instantly read horror. So, so Poe, big influence, and Shirley Jackson. I saw the Haunting movie first, and then we had The Lottery, of course, and We've Always Lived in the Castle, fed to us in school, which were amazing. And then obviously sought out the novel, which I'm rereading right now, and it just stays golden. And there's so many through the years, like you just pick them up. I'm a big Roger Zelazny fan. He's not as well known as Bradbury, but Bradbury was a big influence. And bleeding into the science fiction world, Asimov and Clark and all the giants, Henlon, early Henlon, and there's just so many more that I could go on for hours and hours. But you can take little bits and pieces from them and put them in your own writing. And I hope I'm doing I like to say I wish I was 10% as talented as some of the people that I grew up reading. And another, I always can't forget, one of the biggest influences, Douglas Adams. I put humor in everything I do. Usually if it's science fiction or horror, I always squeak. There's a great sense of humor in the novel and most of my short stories. I rarely write something that's just straight horror because I just can't stop myself from making fun of things. Mm-hmm. But Douglas Adams, come on, Hitchhiker's Guide alone.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's so great. And Terry Pratchett, same way. Two amazing guys that... the imagination there, and that's not necessarily, are those horror writers? Well, no, not necessarily.
I haven't read a ton of him. The last one I read was Good Omens. Him and Neil Gaiman co-wrote that. And it's so funny. It takes your traditional, it's funny. We're going right now in our, main event series that we do, going back through the entire Scream franchise. And it has the Good Omens has a very it's aware of the genre that it's writing itself into, and it pokes fun at that and at religion and all of that. The awareness of it is what makes the writing as good as it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always just a fan of sheer imagination. Like some people will, there'll be more imagination in one book. That like Hitchhiker's Guide, 4 or 5 books, however many there were. But some people will write 500 books in their lifetime and not have that much imagination. And it's hard to create one world and one set of characters and everything. And people like that King and all these others that create multiple worlds and hundreds of characters, and they're all unique and different, even if they are based on real people or historical people or whatever. Those are the ones that just blow me away.
Yeah, writing a scene is, there's, a lot of fantastic writers out there. You said you were also a fan of, let's call it graphic novels or comics and stuff like that. I would definitely recommend this one that I'm just finishing up right now, Bone Parish. It's going to be by Cullen Bunn, and it's pretty much taking place in New Orleans. And the premise of it is it's pretty much like a street gang that is running. They pretty much cremate bodies and then dissolve their bones, so you can do the bones as a drug, and you inhabit that person's life for a little bit. It's awesome.
Where do I get that? Crazy. Which street corner do I get that on?
I am not sure. But the bone, I can't remember. They call it dust or something like that. Bone dust, ash. That's what they call it. They call it ash.
That's actually a great idea.
It's really cool. But I'm going through that right now. But sorry, I totally lost track of where I was going.
I do that 16 times a day. So,
yeah.
Wait, what? Where am I? No,
you were recommending Bone Parish to him, and then that's where you're at.
Yep, I totally
It's okay.
don't even. Oh, I was just gonna say Stephen King has just this uncanny ability to create more than anything else. I think he does. A setting is unreal, and in your other interviews I've listened to, I know that this haunted house seems to be the setting, and playing with the setting in this book. Is that something that you, as a writer, when you're writing a screenplay, the setting isn't, a huge piece of that? Is that correct? Am I assuming that?
It can be, depending. But like a lot of the scripts that I write, most of the ones that have never been bought are, I kind of create worlds. I think that was Origin Gaming System used to have that as their tagline. We create worlds. It was kind of refreshing. At one point, I wrote more of a straight ahead backwoods thriller a few years ago that also hasn't got made. Movie rights available, but it was so relaxing to just go to basically just go guys in the woods on a hunting trip without having to build the entire world. You just know where it is, and but you do that in screenplays, but much more in novels. And I haven't written graphic novels, but you definitely do that in comics. You're kind of creating places, and fantasy has got to create places. You're literally. I'm always raving. One of my newest passions is Joe Abercrombie, who's just blowing me away. And I'm, if you're familiar with him, contemporary writer. And The First Law. I could go on for entire weeks and weeks on how much I love Abercrombie's writing. He's grimdark.
And The Blade itself. Yeah,
The Blade itself is the first one of the First Law. They call it a trilogy, but there's really 10 books in that world. And then there's a whole new one out, which is an alternative medieval adventure fantasy called The Devils. I think I heard that James Cameron had just optioned The Devils, so he's about to become a household name. But he creates worlds.
Well known.
Unlike Stephen King, yes, Derry, Maine, and his version of All the Small Towns are, he's created them and peopled them with real, living, breathing people that you kind of know and understand.
Yeah.
But Abercrombie, Tolkien, others of the, especially the fantasy genre, but a lot of the horror genres, they're creating entire pantheons of people and gods and places and geography and rivers and like holy mackerel.
Yeah,
that's like.
I've been cruising through the Dune series this last year, and it's another one of those. Just like, how do you even wrap your mind, or like I just the creativity in creating not a world, but like a whole galaxy of worlds.
Galaxy.
It's just crazy.
And then the history of it, that the history is real and the persistence of it, and then
lore.
It goes. Yeah. No, that's, again, hats off to the people that can pull that off. And I do that a little bit, but some of the other works, but I do have to say though, in the novel, the house isn't necessarily haunted in my first novel and whatever happened to it. It's you think it is, it kind of looks like it, but it's really more the setting for things that happen. And there is magic and supernatural going on, but it's more through a weird door in the basement kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I'm looking at the cover art, and it looks so cool. It has, I want to almost say it's like a Scooby-Doo vibe to like the cover art.
Yes. I had an idea in mind, and I found through a friend of mine, Drew Pierce, who's a director and an artist in his own right, but he's more directing with his brother Brett these days. The Wretched 1 and 2 and Deadheads, a good friend. And Drew had done the covers for my first two anthologies, Hell Comes to Hollywood 1 and 2. And I knew he was not doing that these days, but I called him to see if he had an artist recommendation for the novel, because I wanted to really take control of it myself. And he recommended the wonderful Zelda Devon, who's just a fantastic artist. Please go to her website, zeldadevon.com. Just amazing. And I love the style, and her main style wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but I like the fact that she said something really important to me, that on the website, it says she wanders through the neighborhood and finds sticks and will come back and dip them in ink and do hand-drawn letters. And that, I was sold right there, because I'm very much into letters and fonts.
Really?
And I really geek out on that, on covers and lettering and fonts, which sounds like a dumb thing, but it's kind of sets the difference between, you may not notice it, but when you see a poster or opening titles of a movie or a book, the lettering is so important. But also her art. And as Zelda and I were talking, we're both giant Bernie Wrightson fans. so she said, "Oh, do you want me to kind of go a little Bernie Wrightson direction with this?" So it was my rough idea. She took my terrible bad ideas and made it 1,000 times better, as you can see. And it's kind of, and that covers kind of a conglomeration of different scenes in the movie, but it kind of, which is kind of hard to do on a cover. How do you give it away, but not too much? And the reaction I like is, why is there a guy looking at a kind of haunted house with a machete and a basketball? What the hell's going on here? And that's
and a shotgun. It looks awesome.
Yeah, and it's close enough to a graphic novel, like you said, or some, but still serious at the same time. So love it, and all thanks to Zelda, and just amazing to take my terrible idea and turn it into that beautiful artwork.
That's awesome.
Well, is there any other plugs you want to kind of bring up? Again, we've kind of vaguely talked about your book, but can you just kind of give us a synopsis or things for?
Other than it makes you ridiculously good looking.
Yeah. Other than the fact that you're going to lose 15 pounds and then all girls are going to like you and then you're going to be a better person. It's going to change your DNA. Can you just kind of like let us know why everyone should get this book and why we're all already on board?
Because I have to pay the rent. No.
Dude, I respect that.
That's fair. That's
you want this guy not to be able to pay his rent? Right? Buy his fucking book. Did you hear
this book?
He's wearing a Maiden shirt.
Rent? He's drinking whiskey.
It's the Iron Maidens. I'm guessing that's the girl cover band of Iron Maiden.
Yes, it is. They're amazing.
The Iron Maidens.
I
couldn't quite see. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I would like to plug the Iron Maidens. I don't have a connection other than a friend of mine's wife is the drummer, but that's my only.
Support your local artists, man.
But yeah, so kick ass. They're just almost as good as Iron Maiden themselves. So if they're in a town near you, please go see them, support them. Just some kick ass heavy metal. Okay, all joking aside, yes, we all want to sell 1 million copies and retire to wherever the hell you want to retire to. But honestly, I just hope people are entertained and inspired and learn something, because life is tough. Life is hard. There's various themes going on in this book and some of my other stories and things I do. And it's kind of like, it's about a guy who's obsessed to end a family curse, and he's basically putting his life on the line every month when the full moon comes up and weird magical games happen to try and right wrongs created by a sorceress, evil uncle. And it's fun, it's funny, it's heartbreaking. I deal with bullying. I deal with not overtly, but I touch upon spousal abuse and child abuse, mental abuse. And how basically we all just kind of have to stick together and lean on our friends, and no person is an island, and reach out, and the bonds of friendship and sacrifice are just all in there, and what you have to do to, I'm rambling a bit, but I hope what it comes through is that people get it, that we all stick together and you can achieve something and do good things. And sometimes you just shoot demons in the face when you're drunk on whiskey or cut their heads off with a samurai sword.
That's awesome. See, because I love it, because we have, from what I can see, there's this blend of what we would call elevated horror and this, what I would call traditional, you say, like, horror itself to me was always so good because it didn't allow itself to take itself too seriously, because it's too scary to really take serious. You have to have some levity to it, or else it's too crushing. The weight of it is too much. Yeah, weighing our own death.
No, and that's even there's one particular scene in the book that to me is the darkest scene in the book, and it's not a traditional horror, but it's horrifying. And I did what I think is some of my best writing, because as the event was happening and we're focusing on it, I didn't even consciously write this, but I had to basically pull back and do in kind of a weird way a Greek chorus of people, of the third parties observing what is happening, because to me what happened was so horrific that I needed to take a step back, and I do kind of a fun little aside and weirdness about it, watching the scene, and then other people have read it and they're like, I didn't think that scene was that dark, and I'm like, Jesus, I did. What's wrong with you?
But you're living it, right?
Yeah, but you're living it, yeah. And it really hit home, and it's a really, really serious scene. So, but even as a writer and then as a reader, I love what I did there, and I love with my words. But like you said, it's giving a little bit of a break, give a little separation. And honestly, that's what all movies do, whether it's horror, science fiction, comedy, books do, is gives us a break. You can identify with the main character. character. I mean, I like hard endings in movies, where,
Sure.
the skeleton key and things like that. Like, oh my God, that ending is just like horrifying. And there's so many great examples of that. But as I get older and just like, I don't want to do that to my audience. I want to, it's not necessarily a happy ending. We're not skipping down the street with puppies and flowers everywhere, but at the same time, there should be a path towards redemption with characters. And I mean, come on, horror movies, The Final Girl, somebody lives.
It's that roller coaster of, you can't just be oppressive with the suspense all the time, or else the suspense falls flat. The emotion can't be there all the time. We need some levity, or the weight of the consequences of actions need to be, have some ebb and flow, so that when it hits you, it hits harder.
Yeah. And give it a breather. And that also helps. And it helps just on the read or the watch or whatever. It gives you a break. It's like, it's like when you're playing whatever sport, you just need a breather sometimes. Then you go back in re-energized for the next round. So
exactly.
Love it.
That's a great analogy.
So to sum it all up, I just hope, the book entertains, inspires, and I think people will enjoy. I am proud that I wrote the most horrifyingly hilarious torture scene ever written. Takes place in a magical context, but I go to, believe me, I was even shocked at myself when I wrote that. So I'm like, oh wow, how can I make this even worse? And I think that was one of the reviews that said, managed to make your worst nightmares horrifying and hilarious at the same time. And I'm like, yes, that's what I was going for. So,
man, that's what you strive for.
Well, hey, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We're just right at the ass end of an hour. So thank you so much for coming in.
This was a blast.
Well, I appreciate it very much. Love being here. And I just like I said, I like learning new things. I got a couple books myself. I hope people, buy other people's books. And if you happen to buy mine too, great. And let me know if you like it.
No, buy his book.
Go see Iron Maidens. Iron Maidens kick
assholes.
Ass. Yeah.
Yes.
And again, if you want to lose weight, raise your IQ, become more attractive. And rumor has it that it might happen if you read the novel. I don't know, but
I want to do all those things.
Yeah.
So
it's just that easy, guys. 15. I think it was $15. That's it.
So we have a way we end the show. Yeah. As we like to say, stay weird, stay wicked, and stay wasted. So will you do that with us real quick? We just say,
what was the middle one?
Stay weird, stay wicked, stay wasted.
I'll try. Yes.
All right. Right. Signing off. Please say with our friend Eric Miller, will you please stay wicked,
stay weird,
wicked, stay weird,
stay wasted. That was about how that should have gone.